The writer to 2 Chronicles is running through the kings of Judah to show us how their leadership affected the nation. And it's all leading up to the demise of the nation, the exile of the people, the destruction of Jerusalem, and the destruction of the temple. So we saw Solomon, who humbled himself before the Lord to seek wisdom, and the Lord granted him wisdom and power and wealth. But in so doing, he disobeyed injunctions from Deuteronomy, not to amass horses, not to amass wives, not to amass gold. On his death, his son Rehoboam became king. But he didn't have grace and humility. He was proud of his own power, and so 10 tribes walked away from him. His intention was to fight to get them back, but the Lord sent Shemaiah the prophet to say no, this separation was from God, that the children of Israel might be able to choose whether to worship the God of Israel or not. And some came over from the other tribes to Jerusalem and Judah, and there was war between Jeroboam and Rehoboam all their days. For Jeroboam wanted to take over Judah as well as the other tribes. When Rehoboam died, his son Abijah reigned in his place. In the 18th year of King Jeroboam, Abijah became king over Judah. He reigned 3 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Micaiah, the daughter of Uriel of Gibeah. And there was war between Abijah and Jeroboam. Abijah set the battle in order with an army of valiant warriors, 400,000 choice men. Jeroboam also drew up in battle formation against him with 800,000 choice men, mighty men of valour. Then Abijah stood on Mount Zemaraim, which is in the mountains of Ephraim, and said, Hear me, Jeroboam and all Israel. Should you not know that the Lord God of Israel gave the dominion over Israel to David forever, to him and his sons, by a covenant of salt? Yet Jeroboam the son of Nebat, the servant of Solomon the son of David, rose up and rebelled against his Lord. Then worthless rogues gathered to him, and strengthened themselves against Rehoboam the son of Solomon, when Rehoboam was young and inexperienced, and could not withstand them. And now you think to withstand the kingdom of the Lord, which is in the hand of the sons of David. And you are a great multitude, and with you are the gold calves which Jeroboam made for you as gods. Have you not cast out the priests of the Lord, the sons of Aaron, and the Levites, and made for yourselves priests like the peoples of other lands, so that whoever comes to consecrate himself with a young bull and 7 rams may be a priest of things that are not gods? But as for us, the Lord is our God, and we have not forsaken him. And the priests who minister to the Lord are the sons of Aaron, and the Levites attend to their duties. And they burn to the Lord every morning and every evening burnt sacrifices and sweet incense. They also set the showbread in order on the pure gold table, and the lampstand of gold with its lamps to burn every evening. For we keep the commandment of the Lord our God, but you have forsaken him. Now look, God himself is with us as our head, and his priests with sounding trumpets to sound the alarm against you. O children of Israel, do not fight against the Lord God of your fathers, for you shall not prosper. But Jeroboam caused an ambush to go around behind them. So they were in front of Judah, and the ambush was behind them. And when Judah looked around, to their surprise, the battle line was both in front and rear. And they cried out to the Lord, and the priests sounded the trumpets. Then the men of Judah gave a shout. And as the men of Judah shouted, it happened that God struck Jeroboam and all Israel before Abijah and Judah. And the children of Israel fled before Judah, and God delivered them into their hand. Then Abijah and his people struck them with a great slaughter. So 500,000 choice men of Israel fell slain. Thus the children of Israel were subdued at that time, and the children of Judah prevailed, because they relied on the Lord God of their fathers. And Abijah pursued Jeroboam, and took cities from him, Bethel with its villages, Jeshanah with its villages, and Ephraim with its villages. So Jeroboam did not recover strength again in the days of Abijah, and the Lord struck him, and he died. But Abijah grew mighty, married 14 wives, and begot 22 sons and 16 daughters. Now the rest of the acts of Abijah, his ways and his sayings, are written in the annals of the prophet Iddo. My name's Arthur, and I thank you for joining me as we have one incident in the life of Abijah. We're told that he reigned 3 years, that he began to reign in the 18th year of Jeroboam, following on from the death of his father. Now, God had instructed Judah not to go and attack Israel to reclaim the kingdom, and so they built defensive works against them. But Jeroboam was not taking advice from the Lord. He led the people to the worship of golden calves, even to demons. Anyone who wanted to be a priest could be a priest, provided they were not truly a priest. For the true priests of the Lord, the descendants of Aaron, were deposed from their position, and most of them emigrated to Judah, also the Levites. Jeroboam had been attacking Rehoboam throughout the reign, increasing in vehemence. So when there was a new king, they saw an opportunity. Before Judah gets organised under its new king, we will wipe them out. So they came with 800,000 choice soldiers, and Judah could only round up 400,000, a 2-to-1 disadvantage. But Abijah had learned the true history of God's promise, a covenant that God had made to David concerning the kingdom, that David would always have a son to rule. Therefore, Jeroboam's attack would be futile. They would not destroy God's people, no matter how hard they tried. That God gave the dominion to David by a covenant of salt. Now, this is an expression that I don't fully understand. It implies a very strong covenant. He says Rehoboam is supported by worthless rogues who saw an opportunity for themselves, but they cannot withstand the kingdom of the Lord. Morally, they are not right. But Judah has remained faithful to the Lord. Daily they offer the sacrifices in the temple. We need to have a daily relationship with God. And then when the time of testing comes, we can have confidence that God will be with us, even though we are greatly outnumbered. Humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God. Resist the devil, James says, and he will flee from you. Abijah says God himself is with us as our head. His priests sound the trumpets. Don't take this futile path fighting against the Lord God of your fathers. You cannot prosper. Jeroboam took no notice of Abijah, setting an ambush and attacking the people. Judah was surprised to find the Israelite soldiers behind and in front, and they cried to the Lord, and the priests blew the trumpets, and the men of Judah gave a great shout, and God struck Jeroboam and all Israel. And as they were running, Abijah and his people killed 500,000 choice men of Israel. For the Lord was on the side of those who were faithful to him, and gave him time every morning. The children of Israel were subdued. This didn't mean that Abijah took over their territory, although he did take 3 cities, but it did mean that they ceased attacking for a while. Jeroboam didn't recover, and it wasn't long after that that he died. But Abijah went from strength to strength.